We're out now for heat number 2 for the English Open Championship, and the drivers again will be in their allotted positions, completely reversed to heat number 1. So those that were at the front first time around will find themselves at the back, and those that were in the middle, well, sort of like in the middle again. But we're just going to follow the instructions now to ensure that the drivers are out in their correct starting positions. Again, it will be clutch start, so I can see that Adrian Boyle is out there on pole. Now technically he was allotted the pole position on outside pole with Tick Stewart on inside row 2, but in spite of the instructions given, they're not currently in those correct places, so we'll have to see as to whether the steward corrects that or not. So we'll have a look at those drivers out there with, of course, Adrian Boyle, the Irishman, and Tick Stewart from Essex out in the front. And as Dave Owen comes out on track, you can also see that 42 Dean Kitchen is out there amongst the first batch of drivers, and 45 Craig Boyd. Now Boydie, you really got to have a look out for him today, because he came in 7th place in heat number 1 from the back, so where he is for heat number 2, you'd be thinking he could be favourite for a win here. On to the second batch of drivers, and this time we see that Graham Fulker is out there in the second group. Alongside him is Ryan Polly in 236. Then we have the stirrer Steve Spooner in 353, in that immaculate all-yellow machine that used to belong to Dave Fry. And then alongside him we have 72 Gary Goodswin in his red and gold Mark II. Completing the 6 in the second group is 198 Andy Stewart and 84 John McFarland. Now, as we said in the intro to heat number 1, it's great to see that Andy is back out with us. He had a dreadful accident at work over 12 months ago and actually couldn't walk, so the progress that he's made to make himself fighting fit to come back to racing is quite remarkable, although he does admit in the pits that he is struggling with these clutch starts because of the strength in his legs just aren't there, so he's doing the best that he can. On to the third batch of drivers. We see that Kenny Purdy is circulating, and the reason for that is that he has no clutch, so although he's supposed to be on the third row, we'll have to see as to exactly what he does plan to do in this clutch start race, because this will present significant problems for Kenny. So Darren Owen making his way round. And we can see Podge McQuaid out there in the third group of drivers with 247 Graham McCabe, and Graham went extremely well in the opening event. Somewhat worryingly, Darren Owen has gone back to pit lane, and I don't quite know the reason why, but clearly Darren has a problem. So whether they're going to hold the gate for Darren, we will have to see. So we'll move on to the remainder of the grid. And Cara Boyd is alongside Graham McCabe. She's driving car 44 in her favourite Wolseley 1500. 88 Dave Owen is out there, and a good example of not what it looks like but how it goes. And Dave, with that very battered looking Mark II, is still proven to be very quick indeed, although he does admit when I spoke to him in the pits that he's not quite happy with the way the car is handling. I thought he was doing really well, so it just goes to show how much more capacity Dave thinks there is for improvement. Alongside Dave we have number 333 Lee Wood in his famous HB Viva, and Lee, he did very well in that opening event, coming home in third place. And then we have 153 Sammy Mitchell in his all blue Mark II, and we go towards the back now with 25 Trevor Cusack. And the man from Mallow in County Cork was lucky to avoid any serious accident when he was spun out in heat number 1. And it's just that slight driver door damage which is apparent. Alongside Trevor we have 966 Thomas Dilly, who came second in heat number 1. At the back we have 257 Andrew Willis. Andrew a little bit concerned with his engine today. It's not pulling, as he says, as well as it should be. And then at the very back we have 555 Gavin Tabor, who was on pole position for heat number 1 and of course won that event. So that's all of the drivers out, and it's good to see that Darren Owen has made some last second adjustments, and he's right back out there on the grid in his third block of drivers. So I think they're just looking to make sure that the grid is as it should be, although I do see that Tick Stewart is still on the outside. We'll have to see as to whether they do adjust that or not. But it looks like we're going to get away with the warm-up lap, just over 2 laps in a few moments' time as the pit gate goes together. And there he goes. It's that brand new pit gate that we have here at Hednesford. Some ongoing improvements that we've got here at this beautiful, well-appointed track in Staffordshire, and the spiritual home of hot rod racing, as we celebrate the history of hot rods and the man who brought it all together, Mr. Bill Morris, with it being his testimonial today. So the Bill Morris Memorial Trophy, a beautiful trophy contested over many years now in classic hot rods. That will be up for grabs as part of being the English Open title that the drivers are competing for this afternoon. A very good grid of drivers we have out here today, and everybody back out there again to make another 23-car grid. It was a good clean race apart from Trevor's accident, which fortunately everybody managed to avoid when he spun. But we are here and we're all ready to go once again. And now we just wait for the instructions from the steward, care of the start marshal, to get them on their way. Now I can see that Tick Stewart is still talking to one of the track marshals out there. I don't know as to whether he's seeking clarity as to whether he is on the inside line or not. It had been gridded as such that he should be on the inside of row 2 with the absence of the actual pole sitter. But we're now getting ready for the installation lap, and whether things will be adjusted after these 2 laps we will have to wait and see. So away we go. Dean red flag straight away as 42 Dean Kitchen has problems with his clutch, and he's going to get a push start. I think he's obviously stalled the engine. It's bogged down just as we went to go yellow. And we look at Kenny Purdy right in front of us, the Scotsman, the winner of the Scottish points, the winner of the Irish Open Championship. We can hear just how much that car is grating as he tries to get some traction in on that car. And another great thing that we can see about Kenny Purdy, who was interviewed only last Monday evening for the next issue of Retro Ford magazine, is that he is already showing off the red and white checkers to denote his victory in the Irish Open, and of course on the other side of his car the blue and silver stripes to show his victory in the Scottish Points Championship. So all credit to Kenny on displaying his title status as he's here today. So we hope that everything will be all right with the Scotsman, with the lack of a properly working clutch. But we go again, and this time we can see that Tick Stewart is on the infield, and I don't quite know what the issue is there. So Tick on the infield, I don't know what the issue is there unfortunately, but we have had the installation lap now, and we will await for the start. So Tick on the middle, the rest of the drivers coming into position. See 84 John McFarlane on outside row 6, and of course the steward issuing the instructions quite firmly to the drivers in the third pack, which incorporates number 8 Darren Owen and 10 Podge McQuaid, to be in their right start position in the third pack on the grid, where really the blue top A graders would normally start. So tick the non-starter, and we're waiting for the green flag once everybody is in the right place. Now you can see that the star men are now being backed up, as Paul Gerard, the meeting organiser here, has made it quite clear to the drivers that he's selected the clutch start to this afternoon's proceedings to prevent any creeping on the grid, which is quite typical from a rolling lap start, where the men at the back are literally at racing speed before the men at the front really have chance to be. So this clutch start arrangement does equal and eliminate that out, and we're now getting ready. So, getting ready now. Start marshal, tapping his flags on his rostrum, the red and the green, and we're away. And Kenny Purdy has not got the start at all. He's got him going. He's got going. And amazingly everybody missed him. Amazingly everybody missed him. And we're away. So as expected, Craig Boyd takes the lead. The next batch of drivers is headed by number 6 Graham Fulker, ahead of 72 Gary Goodswin, and number 236 Ryan Polly is a spinner. So they're keeping their eye on that. He is off the racing line. The drivers will be aware that he's there, courtesy of their receivers. Are out, somewhat belatedly I have to say, and that will be to rescue Ryan from that exposed position on the apex of turn 1 and 2. So Ryan being rescued, and the pace car will now take the order under caution. And we can see that Craig Boyd, as expected, is at the head of the field. 44 Cara Boyd is your back marker, and in second place we have 42 Dean Kitchen and 195 Adrian Boyle. Then the third Anglia of number 6 Graham Fulker. Behind them is number 72, the Mark II Escort of Gary Goodswin. The Mark I of 353 Steve Spooner. Then comes Daz Owen and Podge McQuaid and the rest of the field. So Kenny Purdy had a very hairy predicament when he realised that clutch, the thrust bearing, had gone. It had broken down and collapsed just when he needed it most, and Kenny not wanting to give up, he's just circulating that car so that it's still in drive, because as soon as he's out of drive he just won't be able to get it going again. So Ryan Polly being pushed off. A driver I still believe will make further progress in classic hot rods. He also is an expert driver when it comes to racing the circuits in the I think is it the Saxo or Renault Championship that he's in that. I'm sure that Ryan will correct me when he listens to this tape. But again, Kenny Purdy continues to take the car round. He really doesn't want to catch up. He's at the back, and he doesn't want to bring the car to a stop at all, or that will create problems. So Craig Boyd, your current leader and favourite to win. Rest of the field, and Kenny Purdy continuing to circulate. Goes a little bit quicker now as he's under instruction from the steward to say that we're getting ready to go. So he moves a little bit quicker round, and in front of us the pace car leads them away on this restart. Craig Boyd ahead of his sister Cara, who's a lap down. Dean Kitchen, the Bromley Bomber, Mr. Mint 195 Adrian Boyle, the Oxford Don number 6 Graham Fulker, 72 Gary Goodswin is the Norfolk boy, 353 the Stirrer Steve Spooner. Then we have Deadly Daz in number 8, Go Daddy number 10 Podge McQuaid, the Prince of Pop 333 Lee Wood, and Andy Donut Stewart in 198. We're getting ready to go, and away we go racing with the A40 of Craig Boyd leading them away. There's the rest of the field through. And we pick up now with Craig Boyd leading. He's clear from 42, Dean Kitchen. Number 6, Graham Fulker having a good battle with 72, Gary Goodswin. Cara Boy goes wide, Steve Spooner under pressure with number 8, Darren Owen. Then comes number 198, Andy Stewart, and number 10, Podge McQuaid in trouble. And it looks like as if he'd gone right up the back of somebody. And just look at the way that the engine is steaming now. Something went wrong. And Graham Fulker, also a spinner. It looks like we've got water or antifreeze on the track, and Podge is in big trouble. And so too it apparently is number 25 Trevor Cusack. So clearly not having the smooth run that we had in heat number 1 and in heat 2, and Podge McQuaid in big trouble. So too is 25 Trevor Cusack, and both drivers who were contesting for the Irish points seem to have nullified their chances of changing that position. So we will have to see whether we can get some further clarity as to how bad that situation is with Podge, but it certainly doesn't look good at the moment. And I think therefore it would be a good point to call a halt to this part of the race while we await proceedings and the clearance of that stricken car 10.